Has anybody seen this ad? That was the question a Reddit user had when posting this screenshot in the Internet Mystery subreddit. He talked about watching a Nexpo video when, all of a sudden, this mid-roll came on showing what seemed to be a bunch of B-roll of America. From the cities to the highways to the land, from sea to shining sea. Tomorrow is our profession. People soon came to realize that this video wasn't just an ad on Nexpo's channel, but an ad on Nick Crowley, Film Theory, and When the Goon's channel as well. It's possible that there are other channels out there that could have potentially have gotten this ad, all of which I'm sure are considered horror channels, but so far, only those 3 channels have been mentioned in the comments of this video, titled Tuesday Tapes Enlist. It was uploaded last year on July 4th, 2023, yet only seemed to have garnered traction just a few months ago, around the same time the ads were spotted, as well as this channel's next video, which starts the aforementioned Tuesday Tapes series. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty mystery stuff that I know all of you are horny for, let's actually take a look at the channel itself. Gloomy Texan Media is a channel created by Augustine Dalton and Gabe Hall. As they explain in their YouTube description, they're an underground production company based in the Pacific Northwest, sort of like Mumblecore, but good. Okay. Together, they've created several short horror films in the past, and this one, by far, is their most ambitious one. This series in particular was credited as being created, directed, and written by Augustine Dalton. Now, Mr. Dalton, I can't help but be disturbed, not by your series, but by the advertising space that was left unbought by you and yours, and I just gotta say, I don't appreciate that. I know you're watching. And let me tell you, I am, in many ways, a very jealous man. Now, I will concede to the idea that perhaps you haven't heard of me, maybe you're unfamiliar with me, and that's okay. I know my status in this world. I do hope you'd serve me in your company and allow your next ads to be played on my videos. Would you make sure that happens? I'd hope so. I'd like to see you recognize me. This is not a favor you have to return, of course not. I'd just like to be recognized for my hard work. I think if you're going to acknowledge people like Nexpo, Nick Crowley, and When the Goon, then I think it's only fair that you also acknowledge the little guys out here because we work hard too. Right? Right. Thank you. And thank you also for mentioning When the Goon, because that makes this ad read way more transitionable, if that's a word. I don't even know. Well, anyways, When the Goon came out with the movie, y'all. That's right, and you can check it out with the link down below. But you better hurry, because you only have until this Friday to buy it, because they will stop streaming it on September 6th. So get yourself a poster right now, and you will be given access to a code that allows you to watch his short film, Stalker. Yes, based on the Stalker series. Not only was When the Goon involved in both the producing and the writing of this entire movie, but also Evan Royalty, who was also involved with many SCP series alongside Stephen Hancock, best known for his work in SCP Dollhouse and SCP Overlord. This is a professionally made movie that I believe all of you would really enjoy, especially since I know I share most of my audience with When the Goon, and I'm sure you guys all love him, and I'm sure you'll love this movie as well. Check out the link below. Thank you Invis and When the Goon and the entire team for giving me this opportunity to sponsor your movie. I appreciate it a ton. Hopefully you guys enjoy the flick. Anyways, back to the video. As of right now, the Tuesday Tape series is still very, very new, and barely anything has been released as of this recording. But with what we've got so far, I am pretty confident in saying that this series has the potential to be one of the most memorable and most disturbing pieces of online horror fiction YouTube has to provide. But what can people expect from this series? Honestly, it's hard to say. We've only just a bit of the puzzle laid out in front of us, and even the description of the series is somewhat esoteric. An anthology of incidents set around the turn of the millennium, 1996-2001. Part truth, part fiction, part analog horror, part found footage, all American. Surely as the months go on, especially sometime this winter, before the snow falls, we'll see more of this series get fleshed out and more questions being answered. For now, let's get the pot stirring with the very first video in the Tuesday Tapes chronology. This is the video that was heavily promoted on other videos. Though most of them are promoted, it seems like this one caught the eyes of most American viewers. It shows cryptic messages created by an organization we'll soon come to know as LWP, Latent World Program, whose credo is Damnatio Memoriae, the damnation of memory, a Roman saying used when government bodies and politicians condemned the memories of people they deemed as tyrants or corrupt or even traitors of the state. This goes into the whole motto of what LWP is trying to promote, while still being vague all the same. See, these tapes so far take place between 1996 and 2001. And throughout these tapes, we see LWP constantly barraging us with the age of information, quote-unquote, lightly speaking, about the then recent dot-com boom of the late 90s to early 2000s. It seems to teeter on fear-mongering of American values potentially being destroyed by information, and that future wars would be held up not through guns and typical warfare, but on who holds the most knowledge. In some ways, these tapes were meant to brainwash people into understanding their point of view and informing the public of what needs to be done, though their grander goal has yet to be really revealed, as tapes 0 through 2 show what happens when information is stolen, and it's not pretty. Disguised as a commercial, Memo was made in December 27, 1998 to recruit, or rather inform, new initiatives that are part of what's called the Tuesday Projects. What the Tuesday Project is seemingly unknown. Even in this tape, it's somewhat vague, and in some ways, Tape 0 would almost have you believe that they don't know either.
The impression, overwhelmingly, is that the forthcoming millennium will bear gifts of peace and prosperity by way of profound technological advancement. The American century is winding down to an auspicious end, and as such, it anticipates the next logical step, the American millennium. But to those in the know, it's all too quiet.
As it describes enemies unknown to the public, they talk about gathering info, deploying radical new forms of subterfuge, all with subtle undertones of paranoia that because information is now so readily available and accessible, it brings about a new fracture in the structure of America and its values, and that alone is a threat to our ways of life. All the while, interlaced with the presentation is disturbing footage of a man getting tortured by an individual with a mask painted with the American flag colors, stripes, and stars. We'll see more of him soon enough. It's unknown why this man is being tortured, but if the monologue is anything to go by, then it's likely this person is someone who had access to information that either LWP wanted or most likely wanted back. Remember their credo? Damnation of memory? It's likely they take this to heart, as the three individuals we'll see in Tape 0, 1, and 2 are likely those LWP considers enemies of the state, traitors, America's most wanted. Though this brings into question, once again, who exactly LWP is. Are they just another branch of the American government, or are they just some individual company scared, paranoid, and willing to do harm to those they believe are a danger to the United States? Like I said, we won't get definitive answers now, but this is something to keep in mind as we venture on to...
Oops! Look what I done!
This video takes place on November 7th in the year 2000. We're informed that this video is a report on the investigation and neutralization, aka killing, of a known info hazard named Silvio LaPaglia. Silvio was suspected of intercepting a secret meeting host between LWP and their sister organization, an organization that has yet to be identified in this series. Silvio somehow gathered info of not only the meeting itself, but of email containing details of what was discussed. Silvio was known in this video as a journalist, but he was specifically a correspondent for Audizione Italiane, and I'm sorry for not pronouncing that right, I tried my best. Now, judging by the name, it could be a radio news station in Italy, and judging by Silvio's name, he is likely an Italian foreigner taking refuge in the United States.
Bad move.
Thanks to Silvio's licentious nature, LWP was quick to find him. They monitored him for 72 hours with multiple field agents, 2 of which are among their most elite.
Apollo
And
Artemis.
using Silvio's vice against him, LWP easily set up an operation where they took Silvio out on a ride with none other than Artemis herself. They're monitored carefully by other field agents. The two seem to have a nice evening, but knowing the title of this video as well as the intro, things aren't going to go well. Apollo, meanwhile, is infiltrating Silvio's apartment, documenting everything in the apartment, and I mean everything. Eventually, the two return, and Apollo plants himself in the house, waiting for his turn to strike, as Artemis gets busy with Silvio. The tactic they're about to enact is what LWP calls jacklighting.
Jacklighting is the practice of shining a light into a forest or a field at night to find animals for hunting. This can be done with car headlights, spotlights, searchlights, or other lights, mounted on a vehicle or not. The animals are temporarily blinded and stand still, making it easier for hunters to kill them all.
Though not literally using lights to disorient Silvio, both Artemis and Apollo do use a synthetic drug to affect Silvio and incapacitate him. The method, of course, differing very wildly from what a hunter usually does to a deer for an easy kill, but regardless of the approach, both of them are easy kills nonetheless, and both of them are illegal. This hallucinogenic is a variant of what might be ecstasy, or some other form of common hallucinogenic used in raves, only more potent and deadly and custom-made for Silvio in mind. Symptoms of an overdose include, but are not limited to, rapidly increased body temperature, sudden onset delirium, decreased mobility, and loss of muscle control, which can lead to acute paralysis. This is where the fun begins. Both agents have a disturbingly good time torturing their subject, playing with his body, laughing, making jokes, torturing him in any way possible, making him as uncomfortable and miserable as possible. And not an ounce of remorse is shown by either of the two. They in fact find great pleasure in his suffering. Artemis goes as far as playing with the subject, frothing at the mouth. The two of them just laugh as Silvio lays down dying. Everything after this just seems to be footage of the two talking, casually, almost as if nothing ever happened. The video soon ends. The last few captions explain how everything Silvio ever leaked will be gone. Every trace of him will be erased. It will be several days before anyone notices his disappearance. Silvio will be forgotten. Just about 2 months later, the Tuesday tapes return with another ad that was widely publicized to other horror content creator channels. This new video does a bit more fear-mongering and allows us to get more of an idea of what the Tuesday Tapes project is, a program to ensure the future of America, one that will only be understood by true patriots, quote-unquote, being forgotten. The forgotten, as explained, are the true engines of history, and I suppose in LWP's case, they are the ones who are the true movers and shakers of the world, the ones who work in the shadows and hide all evidence of their existence, and possibly hide information that no one else should know. It's the basic patriotic crap we've been hearing from LWP, but there are two hidden messages in this video, both of which contain Morse code messages. The first is found with the text that says, "Locate the Tuesday tapes," followed by the message. The next message is found shortly after, "Before the snow falls," with the message. Now, ever since the original upload of this video, I have gotten many people telling me that this could be a reference to King Kill 33, Masonic symbolism in the assassination of John F. Kennedy, written by James Shelby Downward. From the little research that I've done, James Shelby Downward was a conspiracy theorist who believed that the Freemasons somehow orchestrated the assassination of John F. Kennedy. What this has to do with this story possibly has more to do with symbolism as a sort of way to show the audience that this group, aka LWP, is much like the boogeymen that many conspiracy theorists believe exist, only they are real. They are the people who orchestrate everything, and they're the people who puppeteer everything that happens behind closed doors. Regardless of that, however, the phrase, "locate the Tuesday tapes before the snow falls," is very clear. We, the audience, are meant to find out where the Tuesday tapes are hidden before winter. It seems like this series is under a time limit. If we don't find out what the Tuesday Tapes project is before winter, will something happen? Will the series not continue? Not sure. And who exactly is telling us to find the tapes? It seems like the person who is uploading these videos are not, in fact, people associated with LWP, but rather an interloper, someone who stumbled upon the project themselves and are uploading them for someone to find. As we can see in the trailer of this series, a horde of tapes that can be seen in front of a CRT. Is it possible this third party, whoever it may be, is someone navigating us to the answers of who or what the LWP is/was? Notice also that these tapes, which are supposed to be guides or videos meant for LWP recruits only, are taped over other videos. We can see in between a car ride scene with audio of a Bush interview being played in the radio, which doesn't seem to fit the rest of the tape, and in the next video we'll see something like this happen again, with someone recording outside in front of a field with Bush on the radio again. It's likely that all these videos weren't taken from LWP directly, but recorded over existing tapes belonging to the uploader, i.e. the person behind these videos getting leaked, and they're trying to send out a message. But so far, we only have one message to go by. Locate the Tuesday tapes before the snow falls. Find the lost tapes before the winter. And while the series is nowhere near complete, the second tape shows us the brutality of LWP and just how unforgiving they can be.
Mr. Edmonds, we know who you are. We know what you have taken. This is your final warning.
LWP has found yet another person who's at risk of leaking info on them. These people are what they call info hazards, a common term that describes people who have info that, well, might be a hazard to a certain type of people if it were given to the wrong hands. This info hazard's name is Cody B. Edmonds, and it's curious as to why LWP decided not to redact this person's name, likely because Cody himself is simply not that important, other than being a person who simply took important information from LWP. The video itself seems to be out of order, constantly going back and forth between Cody's personal overwritten tape of someone's wedding to the present. Even the very first section of his video seems to just be him in the darkness, fearing that people are out to get him. And he's right.
It's happening again. This is the third fucking night in a row. Something is crawling around out there. At first I thought it was a bear or something. I don't know, but that's when I saw it. Oh, man. I can't tell if there's more than one out there. I already called the sheriff. What fucking time is it anyway?
Afterwards, we get a glimpse of normalcy, and anxious and talkative Cody describes what he's been witnessing and what he's afraid of.
Even touched this camcorder since maybe Christmas of '98. Anyways, this started about 2 weeks ago when I noticed that something was tripping my motion sensor light up here, and then I started hearing noises. Okay, so I figured I'd take out the camera since it's got, you know, the motion activation or whatever, and maybe I'll catch something going bump in the night.
And so the sheriff came down here and he took a look around. He reviewed some of the footage that I took, and well, at that point there really wasn't much he could do, even if he wanted to, you know. His advice was purchase a firearm and let God sort it out. Now, I can't really prove anything, but I think I might have an idea of what's going on here.
Cody continues to record himself later that night and shows an eerie voicemail he got earlier, 2 days prior on the morning of the 26th of June, a Tuesday morning. This is what was recorded.
Saved message, 8:57 a.m. Mr. Edmonds, we know who you are. We know what you have taken. This is your final warning. To replay this message, press 1. To delete, press...
LWP is hunting Cody down, but for what reason? While he explains shortly after that he used to work for a wireless company, but never really clarifies what that company is or does, though he jokingly exclaims that they do something involving portable devices, perhaps cell phones. Unfortunately, this company failed miserably, and everyone there was unemployed, including Cody, who suddenly got a call from his uncle shortly thereafter, offering him to stay at his ranch in Oregon while he's away in Europe. Cody, with nothing left to his name, agreed and hastily got all of his belongings together and hauled ass to his uncle's farm, except there's one item that didn't belong to him, a yellow floppy with the word Tuesday on it.
So in my haste, I decide to throw all of my worldly belongings into this. Now, seeing as I'm leaving New York in a bit of a hurry, the whole damn drive over here, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Well, wouldn't you know it, I actually nabbed something that isn't mine. Netcom Netcruiser, mine. Packard Bell, mine. Some random-ass floppy with one word on it? Coincidence? Yeah, probably. But it's pretty fucking weird.
This is likely what LWP is hunting for. It is, after all, the name of the program or project or whatever Tuesday is for LWP. Feeling courageous, Cody decided to grab a bat and wait for the home invaders to arrive, which they do.
Ah, fuck, shit. Oh, Jesus, fuck.
Though Cody mistakenly believes what he saw was just a false alarm, he is quickly given a reminder that he's not alone, with an upside-down doll on the chair he was once sitting on. And this is what happens next. This is around the time the tape ends and should actually loop back to the beginning of the tape when the intruders take Cody away or possibly kill him. It could also be possible that the person we see on tape 0 could be Cody. They both seem to be wearing the exact same shirt, only Cody's shirt says New York on it. They also both seem to have a pretty similar stocky build, but with the face mask on, it's really hard to say. I'm skeptical, but I'm open to the idea that this could be Cody. In fact, it's very likely that it is him. But honestly, at this point, we just don't know what happened to Cody, and it might remain that way until we get new info. And this is where the story ends, for now, at least. However, this is just the beginning of the mystery. See, there's a few things I omitted while summarizing this entire series. First and foremost, the dates. We know this entire story takes place between 1996 and 2001. It says so in the playlist. We also know when exactly in 2001 this takes place. June, at least in the latest video, that's where it takes place. LWP has a paranoid view of the world as we break the dawn of the information era, the era of knowledge. They believe our enemies will be enemies who take advantage of information, and that we should be prepared for such enemies, even if we don't know who they are. They're preparing for something huge, an attack on America's most vulnerable places. At first I thought this series was alluding to a certain national tragedy that befell America's soil many years ago, but the creators already came out on my original video's comments stating that no, what I had originally theorized was not in fact what this series was about. So I'm going to go ahead and walk back what I had said previously and theorized previously. However, I do want to talk about the certain details that I did omit, as I still feel like they're very important to this series, even though they're not directly related to that one thing that I had theorized. Take a look at the ending of episode 2. Here we have two pictures back to back shown in just a flash. The image is that of a blurry photo of a dark figure in front of a window, and the other is much the same, only it's two men this time and much better lighting. If you're a New Yorker, by the way, you might recognize these windows. They belong to, of course, the World Trade Center. This had to have been the World Trade Center, one of the Twin Towers anyways, and though I was right, I was unfamiliar with these two images. I figured they were construction photos of the World Trade Center, but that's not the case at all. What this is in fact images of one of the most infamous yet obscure art projects that took place in Tower 1, the Bee Thing. This involved the art group Gelatin, who are famous for their installation of that giant bunny thing you see everyone mention in their Google Maps top 10 lists, whatever. But before that, they were still pretty well known for their eccentric art projects, this one being one of their riskiest stunts at the time. Though as risky as it is, the Bee Thing is surprisingly very simple. You just install a balcony on the 148th floor of the World Trade Center, stand on it, take a few photos, one of those photos taken by a helicopter, and you pretty much call it a day. You got yourself an art project that everyone's gonna remember. Only, it wasn't, was it? Not many people remember this stunt. In fact, many people doubt it ever happened. Even to this day, people doubt that the Bee Thing ever actually took place or ever really did happen. See, other than a few witnesses and aforementioned photos, nobody has any tangible proof that this really did happen, unlike the tightrope walker Philippe Petit, who had multiple photos, multiple angles, witnessed by thousands of New Yorkers, and he even has police records that say that he did it. But this one just didn't have as much proof. But there was one piece of evidence that proved that the stunt really did happen back in 2000. That one piece of evidence was just one single piece of gum that was stuck on the other side of the window when it was reinstalled. Of course, that window is no longer there. When the towers fell, people came up with multiple theories that still run rampant to this day, of how this whole attack was orchestrated, but also how there could have been bombs involved. Gelatin was accused of being said bombers for a little while. To the public eye, they were just people who were suspiciously there just several months prior to the attack, and the accusations got so bad that even the person who funded the project and even got a helicopter to take pictures of the installation, Josh Harris, denies that the installation was ever real and denies any and all involvement in the stunt, mainly because he was scared that the FBI was going to investigate him. Now, what does this all have to do with the Tuesday tapes? probably not much directly, but symbolically, a lot of what I just said alludes to the creation of this series. A series that involves a secret underground organization that hunts down those they believe to be traitors of the state, people who want other people to be forgotten, people who might just be a rumor, an organization that might have been forgotten at one point and now resurfacing. Maybe at some point LWP had such power that it intimidated certain people to make themselves be forgotten or to forget their own actions. An organization doing their best to keep information to themselves and eliminating all opposition, even if they are American, because chances are they might not view you as patriotic enough or as just someone who is a hazard to the well-being of the country. Damnatio Memoriae. Who's to know what happens next in the series? I'm not sure really. I'm just excited to see something new. Only time will tell if this is something worth remembering or something to be forgotten. But as it stands now, I enjoyed this series a lot, and there's so much more left to dig. And if you're interested in the series, the links to their channel as well as the playlist will be listed down below in the description. And if you want to figure out some of the puzzles, and there's probably even more to be solved and more to be uploaded later in the future, I will likely cover it. But for now, thank you all so very much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Love y'all so much. Goodbye.
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Mr. Edmonds, we need to talk. Stay by your landline tomorrow. I know what's hunting you.